But yeah, we'll get started in just a second. I just need to get my ticket, and then yeah, then we'll just sort of dive right. Hi. Is this where I can get my ticket to the Indiana Jones marathon? Thank goodness, because I am so excited for this. I'm like a really big Harrison Ford fan. Like a really big Harrison Ford fan. I like him a lot. You know, I mean, he's the guy, right? He's America's guy. He's definitely my guy. Did you know, though, that there's not an option to buy tickets on your website, though? Which, if you're asking me, and you're not, but if you were asking me, then I would say that's a mistake, because people like me who try to look ahead, who try to plan their future, they can't. Instead of having the security of just buying a ticket, making that plan, writing in pen over those penciled in dates on their calendar, you know, we just have to assume that when we show up day of, that a ticket will still be available to us. If we take a chance, a blind leap of faith, and just pray that the optically hidden stone bridge will be there in the form of one general admission ticket, then we can still go in. We haven't missed out. We won't die alone. We won't be left out in the cold. We can still go in and experience all that fantastic Indiana Jones action that we've been looking forward to for probably longer than I feel comfortable telling you. My therapist is on vacation, so. Oh yeah, just one ticket. I thought that would be obvious from all the talking at you. Yes, just me. I'm flying solo tonight. Flying solo tonight. And when I fly solo, I make the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs. Just kidding, I usually like go to a bookstore or watch a movie or something. But yeah, it'll be just one adult ticket. Not that I feel like an adult. Oh, thank you so much. Now, do we take a break, or we just keep on trucking through all 3 movies? No break. Great. Thank you so much. 4? All 4 movies? So this includes the Crystal Skull Shia LaBeouf fridge nuking one? Do I have to stay for that? You know, could I just, like, leave? No, yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's not that I don't respect the canon. It's just that I would rather pretend that that one never existed at all. You know, I mean, it's just what I want to believe. I mean, I know it's out there in the world. Like, it happened. It is a real thing on this earth. But, you know, I mean, I got my man Harrison Ford a paycheck. He collects helicopters. Those aren't cheap. I will say that Kate Blanchett is a solid villain-type character in another movie, maybe. It was great to see Karen Allen back on screen again. You know, Marion and Indy reunited. But geez, come on. Aliens? Mutt Williams? Enough CGI to kill a small CGI horse? I would just rather pretend that that never existed at all. Kind of like every ex-boyfriend that I've ever had. Or that I have currently. You know, it's like I have them in the present as ex-boyfriends. But they used to be just like the regular type of boyfriends. Not all at once. I didn't play it like that through my life. I mean, there are some people who can stay friends with their exes, or they work together, or they're just able to be around each other in a civil way. I am not one of those people. I am like Danny Glover in Witness. Let's destroy every shred of evidence that a failed relationship ever happened. Not that I would like kill their families. Maybe. No, but I just have trouble keeping those people in my life and kind of remembering what it is that I learned. Because when a relationship doesn't work out, it's because something didn't work. I've had my fair share of failed relationships, a string, not a huge pile. I don't want to say that it's Harrison Ford's fault, but he is a lot to live up to. See, I have been in love with Harrison Ford ever since I can remember knowing what love was. I practically came out of the womb watching Star Wars. When I was younger, my siblings and I, we knew every note of the 20th Century Fox theme song. And then we would read aloud the blue text that sets the stage for our journey. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. And then we held our breath collectively as the screen faded to black. And we wildly anticipated it. That sudden trumpet burst that simultaneously summons in that iconic yellow text to jettison in from somewhere behind you. I could go on. And the saga begins. It still gives me chills. And this world unfolded, this world of adventure and excitement and Jedi magic. The characters spoke to me. I identified with Luke. I felt that I was also stuck in my small town, but destined for greatness. I identified with Leia, because she was the only female character in the entire trilogy. Mon Mothma doesn't count. Aunt Beru was burnt to a crisp after just a handful of lines. But Han Solo, I was in love. Tight pants, his gun belt carelessly slung around his waist, and that half smile. He was confident, he was clever. He was a tall, strong white man with brown hair. It's always been my type. And as this world unfolded, and as I watched all of these characters, I got sucked in. I couldn't stop watching. Maybe it's because my family is so obsessed with Star Wars. I have a big family. My dad will use the line that we have 5 boys and 2 girls, so it's even. He's not wrong. I come from a lineup of David, Jimmy, Eileen, Joey, Peggy, Bobby, Billy, and we all are very close. We all watch movies together all the time. See, there's a 17-year age gap between David and Billy, but no matter what age you are, everyone can watch Star Wars together. Or Indiana Jones. I mean, as long as during the sexy or scary parts you keep your eyes shut. My parents couldn't be happier that we ate up the films of their youth. My parents have been married for 30 years and they are still insanely in love. You can tell, oh, they thank you from Ohio. They're not here. But you can tell that they're still so in love because of how often they make fun of each other. Just all the time. Their witty banter is sharp and fast and full of love. They fell in love at first sight. My mom saw a tall, strong white man with brown hair, and she fell pretty hard. So did he. They met in August and started dating in September. They were engaged by November, and then they were married the next December. 7 kids later, here we are. So as much as I know about how the world has changed and I have different goals than they did, and my generation is a lot slower on the whole marriage thing, I mean, that's my model. You see each other for the first time. This is some rescue. Either you're going to kill her or you're beginning to like her. And by the next movie, you're in love. And as I sat there and I watched these movies, Star Wars and Indiana Jones, and I watched them over and over again, I started to really understand in a deep way what romantic attraction was. How Han and Leia pushed their mouths so hard together in that tiny little room in the Millennium Falcon that she ran through the corridors so desperate to catch the ship to save Han from the bounty hunter after he'd been frozen in carbonite, that they worked and fought together in the final battle on the farthest moon in Endor in Return of the Jedi. I grew up, as we all hate doing. I was always boy crazy, but never very actively. It all kind of exists in my mind and then fizzles when reality turns out to be less exciting than the fantasy. I've always been very intense about my feelings, so if I'm going to get involved with someone or something or some movie franchise, I mean, I am going to dive way, way in. So I am careful about the steps I take toward intimacy. In the Latin alphabet, Jehovah begins with an I. Am I right? So watch your step. He falls in Last Crusade. Should go home and watch it tonight. It'll really hit. It'll really hit. But then there was high school. By that time, I wanted a boyfriend so badly. I wanted to be loved so badly. I mean, I wanted to feel the way that Han felt for Leia. But it was hard. I mean, nobody ever measured up to Harrison Ford. Not only is he Han Solo, he's Indiana Jones. Which, watching those movies sort of explains the religious fervor that dominated my youth. Yeah, if the wrath of God includes getting your face melted off, I'm going to follow all of the commandments. Thank you very much. But Harrison Ford, I mean, he's always been more than just those two characters. He has staying power. He's America's guy. I mean, he is a combination father figure, sex symbol, and personal inspiration. So when I say that Harrison Ford is my guy, I don't just mean that I think he's like hot or handsome or whatever. Although, like, he really is. He's very. If you like picture him right now, close your eyes and picture him in your head at like Temple of Doom, like that time where he's got. Okay, open your eyes. But I don't know what I was saying. No, I think that it's his ability to be so traditionally masculine without caring about anyone's definition of masculinity. I mean, he doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. Is that a earring? He does not give a fuck. But I think that it's also that Harrison and I are intertwined. He and his movies, they seem to pop up into my life and into my relationships at just the right moment. Or at just the wrong moment. Which when you look back on it, it turns out that that was the right moment. But anyway, like I said, I have a small pile of ex-boyfriends, but I have a larger pile of ex-somethings. You know, those something people that aren't nothing, but they can't really define it as a thing, and it's not nothing, so they're just, I don't know, it's something. Yeah. When I was in high school, I fell in love with my brother Jimmy's best friend. I had never been in love with anyone before, and for 3 years I was sick with love for this guy. I mean, I wanted him to love me so badly. The setup in my mind was perfect. You know, Jimmy is Luke, I'm Leia. We skipped the whole incest kiss, just shoot right on past that. And this guy is Han Solo. Happily ever after, we're a team. My high school Han Solo is a pretty quiet guy, but when he does speak, he's funny and quick. He's not as tall as Harrison Ford, but he does have brown hair and he looks vaguely Jewish, so. We don't hang out by ourselves a lot. We just hang out in a big group of people all the time, but he's always like the person that I can exchange glances with from across the room, and we know exactly what the other one's thinking. And our witty banter is where the real sparks are. You know, that high school witty banter that rivals the relationships of Shakespeare and its beauty of language. But I can't tell whether he likes me or whether he just likes me as a friend. You know, two people who care a lot about each other and sit really close to each other on the couch and are occasionally sexually attracted to each other. You know, friends. But I was going off to college at the end of the summer, so something needed to change. But unlike Harrison Ford's Han Solo, who spends 2 movies trying to get Leia to talk about her feelings, my high school Han and I circled each other cautiously, each of us hugging an opposite wall of the South Passage in order to avoid expressing our true feelings for one another. But things were getting to a boiling point. One day, I'm a senior in high school, and one weekend, Han invites me to a college party at his apartment while I was still in high school. Pretty cool, right? He goes to college in our hometown, just about 15 minutes away from my parents' house. So I roll up in my 1999 Saturn, and I see a picture-perfect 2-bedroom right outside of campus, where beer pong reigns as the activity of choice. As my beer pong partner, Han has to drink for both of us because my parents have a strict no alcohol till college policy, which I follow. I mean, like, my parents are so cool. Why would you ever break a rule that they set? So, predictably, Han got pretty tipsy pretty quickly, and then we all went into the living room, everyone in the party, and we sat on the ground. Somebody got out a guitar that they just bought. And they start strumming some Green Day lyrics. Started teaching a girl how to play the guitar over her. And then we started talking about, you know, philosophy and existentialism and how we all can't wait to get out of our hometown, and we all definitely will. And as we sit around in this circle of great thinkers, Han reaches over without looking at me and takes my hand in his. I don't understand. Is he falling? Is there like a bug on my finger? Is he trying to pull me to safety out of the line of fire of badly aiming stormtroopers? No, no. He just wants to hold my hand. My hand. And that feeling of pure joy washes over me. That sense of someone wanting you. And I close my eyes and I don't want this moment to end. I don't care what comes after. I don't care what's ever come before it. I just want this moment to go on forever. And so we sit there holding hands, and then suddenly it's 3 a.m. and people start finding places to go to sleep and going to bed. I don't want to break the magic spell, but now we're the only 2 left in the living room. Do you want to crash with me? Han asks quietly. Sure, I say, in a sexy voice. We get up and we walk to his bedroom, still holding hands, and I think this is it. I finally get to be in love now, just like in all the movies. We climb into bed, fully clothed from the party, and we talk a little. I want to kiss, I think. I want to kiss badly. I want a French kiss and put my mouth and his tongue in my mouth and then put our tongues together inside each other's mouths, so it's just this whole thing that's happening. So, what do? I wait for him to kiss me. I'm just waiting. I'm just standing there in that tiny little room in the Millennium Falcon holding a wrench, and I'm just waiting. Come on, we're the only two humans on this asteroid, buddy. Let's get to kissing. You come in here and tell me I could be a little nicer. I'll act like I don't want to kiss you because that's what women are supposed to do in action movies or something. And then we'll both say that our hands are dirty. You'll say that I like you because you're a scoundrel, and then you'll stop my mouth in mid-sentence with a giant earth-shattering kiss, and audiences all over the galaxy will rejoice in the mashing of our mouth parts together. So, I wait. And it's getting dark. It's quiet. We've stopped talking. Okay. Time to take this into your own hands, princess. Grab the gun, blast open the garbage chute, and dive in. Because if I start kissing him, he'll kiss back. I mean, that's physics. And besides, if he didn't want to kiss me, I probably wouldn't be here. So I take a big deep breath, and I ready myself for an earth-shattering, life-changing first kiss. And I go in. I go in quick and hard, like a snake. Like that surprised cobra rising up in front of Indiana Jones's face. And then I get him right on the side of the mouth there, but then I dart back to gauge his reaction. Real smooth. He is completely and utterly passed out. No movement. I check his pulse. He is still breathing, but he's very much not kissing me. I am Marion on the ship in my second of two beautiful white dresses, kissing Dr. Jones where it doesn't hurt and ending up disappointed. But mostly I'm sad and embarrassed. I mean, I can't sleep next to somebody who isn't, I don't know, kissing me. So I get up, I find a couch, and I leave very early in the morning. Now, Han and I are still friends after this, but we don't talk about the incident, about the hand-holding. And somehow it's like none of it ever even happened. I still have hope, though. I have a new hope when my senior prom rolls around. I ask Han to be my date over AOL Instant Messenger. And I frame it as a last-minute, last resort, like, oh, somebody else canceled on me, so I guess maybe we could go together. I don't know, who cares? Kind of ask. Because if you act like you don't care, nobody can actually reject you. But Han says yes. And my away message is cryptically joyful that night. My best friend ends up needing a date, so she asks my brother Jimmy, and I think this is perfect. And, you know, certainly this situation won't cock-block my chances with Han. That'd be great. Prom rolls around, and I look the most beautiful that I will ever look in my life that night. I have my hair done so that some of it's up, but a little bit of it's down and braided, so that I kind of have the same hairstyle as Slave Leia. My dress is much classier, though. It's a floor-length, blue, green, teal, shimmery, 1950s kind of number with a big, giant diamond. It's the finest one my mom and I could find on the sale rack. And I look perfect. I really look like someone that Han could fall in love with tonight. So we go to prom and we dance, we laugh, we freak dance to Fat Joe's Lean Back. The most romantic song. And I my body into his, and I think, this is it. This is how love will be. We are the last ones on the dance floor to Billy Joel's She's Got Away. We spend the rest of the evening, the four of us, Han, me, my brother, and my friend, at Steak and Shake in our fine attire. It's Southern Ohio. What else is there to do? And Han sits next to me in the booth, and I wonder if he will try to hold my hand underneath the table as we both eat our steak fries. But he doesn't. Which is fine. I mean, after all, my big brother is sitting right across from us, and this is turning into like a witness our love is forbidden kind of thing. But then Han drives us all home at the end of the night, and he drives my friend home, and then drives Jimmy and I back to our parents' house. And so the sun starts to peek back up over the sky. Jimmy goes inside. Well, thanks for taking me, I say to Han as I stand outside the passenger door in our driveway. That was fun, I guess. Yeah, that was pretty fun, he says. For a high school prom. It's the witty banter, the Bard-esque communication that we had. Yeah, whatever, I said. I had like such a good time. I'm really glad you were my date. There was an awkward pause. There always is. And I looked at him, and all I could see is Han Solo with his hands tied as he's being lowered into the chamber of carbonite, because I was leaving for school in just a couple months. This is the time that you should say something, right? Before he turns into a popsicle. You're supposed to say something. Hey, I said. You know, the funny thing about when we were talking about the thing was I like you. I have feelings for you. And for 18-year-old Eileen, this was bold. For 28-year-old Eileen, it would be pretty bold too. But no banter, no humor, no immature pretending that I don't like you just to show you that I like you kind of thing. Just a straight up, honest, hey, I enjoy being with you. Your vicinity is where I want to be. So he looks at me, into my face, and he pauses. I know. And he backs out the car and drives away. We tried to stay friends for a little bit after that, but I went off to the big city of Chicago for school. He stayed and did what a lot of people in Ohio do, which is they meet a very nice nursing student and they have a beautiful pair of twins last fall. So he wasn't really Han Solo, right? Because he didn't want the same kind of adventure and excitement that Han Solo wanted. I mean, he wanted to have a job that he didn't really like so he could drive home to the suburbs every day to see his wife and kids. Which is a valid goal. I mean, it's not the one that I'm looking for. Thus began my experience with unrequited love. Unrequited love is the worst. But I feel like I am programmed to forever participate in it. Like, am I not Leia in this scenario? Am I instead a sexually frustrated Chewbacca? So dedicated to Han that I waste years of my life following somebody else around like a puppy, or like I'm a big space bear dog thing. Completely ignoring my wife, child, and aging father who are living in my treehouse home on the planet Kashyyyk. It's like, maybe I'll get home for a life day or two. Maybe. Sorry, Mala. But, I mean, life is not a movie, and sometimes, you know, the inciting incidents turn out to be MacGuffins, and people change, or they never really were who you thought they were in the first place. Life is not a movie. But movies are important. I mean, you know, you have to agree on the big things in relationships, morals and values in movies. So it's like, if you're on a first date with somebody and they don't really agree with the same ranking of Steven Spielberg's filmography that you do, or they think that murder is okay, I mean, like, that's just not gonna work out. I hope I don't sound too pathetic or something. I hate that I talk about romance and dating and all of that so much. Like, it's how I mark my life in a way. I mean, my life is so great. Like, I have a wonderful family, lots of incredible friends. I'm taking good care of myself physically and emotionally. I get to be a performer in the city I love. I can see the lake from my apartment, and I only fell down once last winter, so. I mean, my life is so full. I don't know why I talk about it like it's empty because of this one part. Like, finding the great love of your life is the final piece of the puzzle of your entire life. Which is why Indiana Jones is so great. You know, because sure, Indy has his ladies, and at the end of the movie there's an invite for drinks, or a big kiss, or, well, she falls to her death in the third one. But other than that, I mean, he is out there and he's living his life. He probably has tenure. I mean, the respect of his colleagues. He has a hobby in which he excels. And he's looking out for himself and his own happiness. He's just out there doing what he wants. Except in the fourth one, I guess, where they show you that finding the one person who loves you, who you can love, is the ending of the movie and the ending of the whole series, and actually the way to finding a fulfilling life. But like I said, it doesn't count. So, I mean, I think I'm tired of waiting around for that person. You know, like I'm the knight in the temple in Last Crusade, waiting hundreds of years for a worthy challenger. Waiting for somebody who deserves to drink from the grail, which is a little more sexual sounding than I meant. I feel like life is short. Life is precious. You know, one minute you're just walking down the street, or you're up flying your beautiful vintage World War II airplane through the sky and taking a break from filming and just enjoying, you know, flying in the world, and then the next minute you are crashing said plane into a golf course, and certain fans are having dramatic panic attacks on the CTA waiting for your condition to be upgraded to fair, for example. I mean, life is short. Life is too short to spend with the wrong person. I met him in college. We were in the same theater program, so he was artistic and creative and funny. He thought I was funny, and I mean, that was really all I needed. We were together instantly, and we were together for 5 years. This relationship is a little hard for me to talk about. You know, it's 5 years and so little to show for it. It's more like it was a relationship for 3 years and then an emotional torture chamber for 2. A slow burn of dysfunction as the walls of the garbage mashers on the detention level close in, crushing you to death. And you know you should just use the comm link to call 3PO to stop them. But you think, maybe I deserve to get flattened? So you stay in the trash pile. Being in this relationship was like going back to watch the Star Wars prequels. You think, maybe I'll like them this time. Maybe they've gotten better somehow? Maybe I've changed, and now I can finally see that George Lucas was right. Of course he was right. He's George Lucas, and these films do have value. And then you watch them. And it feels like it takes 5 years, and they're boring and sad and so slow. They're mostly about trade regulations. It's so much potential and only one good lightsaber fight. I mean, I know I'm not doing a very good job of setting this relationship up dramatically. It's all the negative stuff up front. I have a bad feeling about this, you may be saying to yourself. My ex-boyfriend, let's call him George Lucas. George Lucas has always been good at manipulating me. And it began with my love of all things Star Wars. He thought it was weird that I liked it so much. Relationship George Lucas didn't understand what I loved about Star Wars, or why anyone would care so much about a fictional world. And he encouraged me to keep my fandom quiet. I mean, I believed him. He was George Lucas. He was the person who finally decided to love me. So, of course, I have been wrong about how important all of these movies are. So even though Star Wars and all things Harrison Ford made me happy and allowed me to escape to a world of adventure, while giving me valid tools with which to face the real world, I acquiesced. I handed Belloc the golden statue that I had worked so hard to find. I put my Star Wars posters up in my closet. I sent my cardboard cutout of Chewbacca and my 3-foot-tall Indiana Jones display poster home to my parents' house in Ohio. I wheeled these parts of myself into storage, into a giant warehouse full of boxes, thinking that I had a real top man on my hands. It wasn't all glum with George Lucas, I should say. We had fun together. We laughed a lot. Because George Lucas is not a terrible person. He is brilliant and creative and smart, and he was a part of creating some really wonderful things in my life. But he got lazy. Or maybe he wasn't really that brilliant and creative to begin with. He just was in the right place at the right time with one good idea, and he was the first person who decided to love me. Early on in our relationship, George Lucas and I were talking. George talked a lot. He was a writer and a philosophy major, so he considered himself to be an intellectual, and therefore better than anyone else who didn't take the same undergraduate courses that he did. He's so different than Harrison Ford, who is generally quiet until he has something to say. Kind of like how my father is. Harrison is strong and physical and capable, like my father is. I mean, Harrison is tall and effortlessly masculine, yet sensitive, like my father is. Yeah, no, I can hear it. No, but I don't think that I have, like, daddy issues or anything like that. I think that my father is the best, strongest, most wonderful man in the world, and I'm clearly obsessed with a celebrity who resembles him in all his best qualities. So, yeah. No daddy issues, like nothing. I do not need to be tied to a chair in a room full of fire to work out my feelings about my father. I'm all set. But anyway, so George Lucas and I were talking. We were standing in the kitchen of an apartment party with our college friends, holding glasses of red wine and feeling so sophisticated at 22. George was expounding on the subject of beauty and the media's depiction of women. Beauty is not subjective, he's saying. Beautiful women are beautiful. Everybody wants to see beautiful women. I mean, it's more socially acceptable for us to see older or ugly men on television, and it's like, what are you gonna do? Change that? No. And besides, if you're not a traditionally beautiful woman, why would you ever pursue a career in entertainment? Wow. He's so much smarter than me. I finally have a boyfriend. He goes on, but really beauty is not subjective when it comes to women, he says. And it's like, beauty is objective. Like, I know a lot of guys who will say, oh, my girlfriend's the most beautiful girl in the world. And it's like, that is just objectively and provably not true. Like, I know Eileen is not the most beautiful girl in the world, so I would never say that to her, he finished proudly. I, understandably, nodded. You know, I mean, it's like we've only been dating a couple months. You don't want to get mad and seem crazy. I didn't want to get angry and seem crazy because I mean, he's arguably right. Like, I've never been the most beautiful girl in any room, much less the whole world. So, right, like scientifically, yeah, he's correct. So it still hurts, obviously, but you don't want to cause a scene and seem crazy. I don't want to seem like I already have all of these baggage and issues about body image and self-esteem, and I don't want to seem that the reason I looked so good that prom night so many years ago was because I didn't eat anything for a whole month leading up to that, and I didn't want to seem that was standing there in that kitchen holding that glass of red wine. I already suspected that I had a drinking problem, but I was too afraid of so many things and I couldn't stop, and I didn't want to seem that I have no idea what I should or should not look like, and whether a man thought I was attractive has influenced so many of my sexual and romantic decisions up until that point, and yes, spilling into the future. So yeah, you know, you don't want to seem crazy. I feel like I'm always trying not to seem crazy. But that was a lot of our relationship, that dynamic. And framing it as that dynamic allows me to look more like the innocent victim rather than a destroyer of worlds. And the truth is, we took turns. We both played the part of Han Solo sitting across from Greedo, and it just depends on which version you were watching to see who really shot first when. Han shot first. Sometimes I was Indiana Jones, sometimes I was the giant boulder. Sometimes I wished I was Jock, just sitting out there on my plane, fishing out the side, hanging out with my pet snake Reggie. I think I got confused about what happiness was. You know, I had found somebody who would love me. I mean, that's what happiness is, right? But I felt so out of my body. I was like a replicant in Blade Runner, where I was piecing my life back together, but this wasn't the past, it was the present. I just did not feel like myself. We are having such a terrible time in this relationship that we decide to take our deteriorating show on the road and move to California together. Great idea. If something's broken in Chicago, surely the sunshine will put it back together. So we moved to the Bay Area, where life continues to be a little disappointing. But I think we're in California now. I mean, that's what Harrison did, right? Move to California and all of your dreams will come true. You just have to put in a little bit of time being a carpenter. And then you'll get your big break. Although I'm not sure what my dreams are anymore. Most of our days in the Bay Area are spent complaining and arguing and sitting around heavily drinking and watching the same TV shows over and over again. The ones that I don't like, that are the dark shows with that anti-hero who's like Han Solo, but with half of the charm and none of the heart. Nothing is turning out the way that I thought it would. Everything is moving in slow motion. It's like in Blade Runner, where Deckard is shooting at the replicant Zora and crashes into the glass panels one after the other, and then she slowly retires to a soundtrack of synthesized maudlin jazz music. Nothing is living up to my expectations. I mean, is this how this is supposed to be? Is this love? None of the theaters I want to work at are hiring me. George Lucas and I are no happier here than we were in Chicago, and a trip to the Redwoods, where they filmed part of Return of the Jedi, turns into a bust. George Lucas refuses to get out of the car to hike with me to the spot where I am sure that they filmed the scene where Princess Leia and Wicket the Ewok first meet. This is stupid, he calls. It's just a log. Yub nub, I call back playfully. George Lucas always hated that Ewok celebration song. And maybe it's because we are so close to the real George Lucas at Skywalker Ranch, but it starts to feel so confined and crowded out west. After less than a year, we plan to move back to Chicago. I will go and move in with my parents first in Ohio and get a job and raise some money because George Lucas doesn't want to get a real job. And then he will meet me in Chicago after the holidays. So I leave. I board a giant plane back to Ohio. I say goodbye to George Lucas before the security checkpoint, and I kissed him on the cheek like a brother. And I walk away, I feel something I haven't felt for a long time. Is this relief? After about 2 weeks of argumentative phone calls and fights, George Lucas calls me to tell me this is over. He is not coming back from California. This is it. At the time, I am overwhelmed. I am alone at my parents' house. They're out and traveling, and I hang up the phone. I call my mother. I'm weeping and unable to understand what is happening, like in The Fugitive when those two mean Chicago cops are questioning Richard Kimball and he still has his poor dead wife's blood all over his face. Mercy. I wail to my mother on the phone. 5 years, the 20-minute phone call that ended this 5-year relationship. It doesn't feel like a Band-Aid being ripped off, it just feels like a sharp, stabbing pain. I feel like my heart has gotten cut out of my chest and I am being lowered into that fire pit, the volcano, whatever that thing is in Temple of Doom, that's where I am. And I scream to my mother, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. What am I supposed to do now? 5 years. Is this how this is supposed to be? And so these feelings of misery last 45 minutes? Because once the initial shock wears off, I realize I can finally breathe again. And it's like I've discovered flying late in life, how Harrison became a pilot and took to the skies, realizing the sense of freedom that delivers you from the bullshit and the pressures of the world below. I have been under the spell of the Kali Ma, and Short Round just burned me with a torch. I'm all right, kid. George Lucas is no longer in control. We're moving into a more encouraging series of my life now. Under the helm of someone smarter and braver, like, I don't know, J.J. Abrams. And it's like all that time with George Lucas, I was hiding from my happiness, hiding in every farmhouse, hen house, outhouse, and doghouse. And now, although it would be scary, now I can live my real life. Sure, it's gonna feel like jumping off the edge of the Hoover Dam and falling hundreds of feet before you hit that sure-to-kill-you bottom, but I don't care. And I knew that, like Richard Kimball, I had to get back to Chicago. So I came back, just for like a year and a half now, but yeah, everything's so different. I don't even think this movie theater was here when I was before, but everything changes. Yeah, and as far as my ex-boyfriend, George Lucas, my ex-boyfriend, we don't talk anymore. It's blocked on Facebook and Twitter and all the wonderful ways we're able to push somebody out of our lives forever. It's sad sometimes, you know, like when I want to remember what was the name of the Chinese restaurant with the red aquarium and no one else will know, that's when I miss him. But it's better this way. For the past year, he has been dating a girl who looks exactly like me. Typical George Lucas. No new adventure, just forever tinkering with the old model. But yeah, I love being back in Chicago. I'm so happy to be here in this city. Can't say I found the whole dating thing to be that much easier though. Maybe I'm still feeling cautious from my relationship with George Lucas. I never know when someone is romantically interested in me and when they're not romantically interested in me and they're just like being a nice human person and like helping me with my checking account or something. And it's like I don't know how to make the first move. Like, what's a move? I have no moves. But I've tried. I've gone out a couple of times with a few guys, mostly from Tinder. Tinder, you will never find a more wretched hive of scum and should be their tagline. But I'm ill-equipped, I think. There's this little-known Harrison Ford movie called Regarding Henry, where he plays like a mean lawyer and then he gets shot in the head by John Leguizamo. But it's before John Leguizamo was John Leguizamo, and he was just playing like Latino street toughs on Law and Order. So anyway, so Harrison goes into a coma and then he wakes up, but oh my gosh, he now has brain damage, but that means he's really nice, neurologically speaking. And so the whole movie is about him trying to figure out if he can still be a lawyer and trying to function in the adult world and getting used to all the crazy things about society and can he still be a lawyer because he's nice now? How does he do it? And it's just him trying to figure out how to operate in the world. Have you seen it? Yeah, nobody's ever seen it. But that's kind of how I feel about the dating world. Like I got shot in the head. And I know it's not always them. It's sometimes it's me. But I still have trouble with knowing that, you know, life is not a movie. I use movies to describe life and explore life. And I know that it's not. And we're living in a real world and life is not a movie. You'd think I'd really get it by now, but I don't. Because I had this moment recently. I was at a storytelling event and I was telling a story. It was a really funny story because I'm really funny. But the story went well and I looked kind of pretty and so I walk out of the bar into the rain and wait! And I see this guy running out of the bar behind me and he comes up to me. Hey, I just wanted to tell you I saw you perform and I thought you were really great. Oh yeah, thank you, yeah, it's fun. It's a great storytelling event, thank you. But you were really great, and you're so great, and you're really funny. You did great. Sweet. And he thinks I'm funny. So we stand there underneath my umbrella, and we talk about Chicago and storytelling, and I start to get that familiar feeling of this is it. This is how it's going to happen. And the rain is falling down. It was like the end of Working Girl, you know? Where all of your dreams come true, and you call Joan Cusack and you want to tell her all about it, and then the camera pans out, it's on the New York City skyline. It's just like that. And so I give him my card with my number on it, and I say, you should call me sometime. Trying not to sound too much like a Mae West movie, but I'm slipping into it anyway. It's a perfect romantic moment. We're in the barn trying to fix the car. He's singing about how he don't know much about science books, and we're both trying to forget about all the murdering going on. And then, you know, I mean, not to make too big of a thing out of it, but it's like then he just never called. And it's like, if it's not going to happen that way with the rain and the romance and all of that, then how is it going to happen? I mean, I just cannot find the droids I'm looking for. And I'm putting in effort. I'm trying. It's not that I sit in my apartment all day watching movies. Sometimes that's what's happening, but not always. You know, I go out, and none of these dates seem to go particularly well. I'm in the marketplace pulling down baskets looking for Marion, but they're all just full of clothes. I went out with this one guy from Tinder. He had a Boba Fett tattoo, which I thought seemed promising. But then we get to the coffee shop and we sit down, and he didn't stop talking the entire time. I couldn't get a word in edgewise. I just kept nodding and smiling like an idiot. Finally, he took a breath, and I jumped in. I brought up Indiana Jones, like you do on a first date. And then this guy starts going on and on about how Temple of Doom is the best one, which I totally disagree with. I mean, aside from the minecart chase, it's a mess. Then he goes into a long monologue where he impersonates Short Round. It's very long, very loud, very racist. No time for love, Dr. Jones. Another internet date was going pretty well. We went bowling during the day, so I knew I wasn't going to get murdered. But he kind of made fun of me when I told him a fun fact about myself, that I have been to not one, but 2 Star Wars conventions on the national level. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm an accomplished lady, like in Jane Austen. But yeah, he was kind of like teasing me about it because he was a Lord of the Rings fan, which doesn't make any sense. You know, we all have to band together. I don't know why he's going to throw a fellow nerd under the bus. Then this guy starts going in on a totally unprompted, imaginative description of if we were to ever get married, that he would like me to be waiting at the door for him when he came home from work. Like I got nothing better to do. And I would be wearing a beautiful 1950s housewife dress. The most important part, though, are the red silk panties I would have on underneath. This was a first date, people! Don't get cocky, kid. In a very out-of-character turn of events, I ended up having a one-night stand. Very misguided and very drunk. It was terrible, as I imagine all one-night stands you have with strangers that you meet on the street turn out to be. Oh, it was stupid and dangerous, and really could have turned into a what lies beneath situation. So this guy in his tiny, messy apartment, which he told me was his second piece of property because he owned a big house in the suburbs. He had a 3-foot-tall statue of a medieval knight in his apartment, and I swear to you, I could hear that knight whispering to me that I had chosen So, all in all, I'm getting used to being on my own. I live alone, I do solo performance work, so a lot of my time is spent by myself. So I am building a beautiful life for myself. You know, I mean, I just sometimes worry that I'm building this life so carefully that there won't be room for anybody else. But if it's the right person, it's just hard to know who is worth spending time on. You know, I wish you could just fast forward to the end of the movie to see who's sticking around after the credits, but it's not really real life. And I know that it's not always these guys. It's not them, it's me sometimes. When I meet somebody that I actually do like, I get overwhelmed with wanting, and I can't even engage them in real life or on social media or in any way whatsoever. When it comes to flirt or flight, I am running for the door. I just feel that intense sense of wanting, and I don't want to ruin it. I'm afraid of being rejected. I mean, who isn't? It's terrible. Or worse, what if you go for it and he turns out to be someone who believes in midi-chlorians or the integrity of Jar Jar Binks? Who has another 5 years to waste? Besides, I feel like I'm always fighting a losing battle. I don't have beauty to fall back on like other girls, so when I want to impress somebody that I like, I have to use like my personality, my wit, my brain. I'm like, it's exhausting. It takes time. And all in all, 9 times out of 10, I would just rather go home and watch a movie. So, because, sometimes it just feels like it isn't going to happen at all. But I think positive. I still hope that I'll meet somebody someday. Maybe on Thursday at the 10:45 showing of Force Awakens. I'll be standing there in line, and somehow from across a crowded theater, he'll notice me. And time will slow down. Everyone else will fade away. The Princess Leia love theme will start playing softly in the background. I'll shake my hair out of a bun and throw off my glasses or something, and we'll walk slowly towards each other. And he'll see how beautiful I am. He'll really see. He'll be the first person to really see me subjectively or not, because we have been waiting our whole lives for each other. He's the holy grail that I've been seeking, and my entire life is just a diary full of instructions about how to get to him. And so then we'll meet, and we'll laugh and talk and connect, and we'll quote the same movies at each other, because we'll love all the same movies. Movies create a language, a vocabulary. So when you find somebody in the world, you stumble across someone who loves the things that you love, it's like you speak the same language that you each thought you invented. And then we'll touch each other for the first time, just a brush of our hands, and then we'll know so much about each other in that moment. And love will happen for me the way I want it to. For the first time, the way that I've always thought that it should. That's, something to hold on to, anyway. So I'm putting it out into the universe, into a galaxy far, far away. It's okay. There are worse things that can happen to a person than being alone. And I'm not letting it ruin my beautiful life. I'm taking myself out to see this Indiana Jones marathon, and I'm going to enjoy my favorite movies. Yeah, it would be more enjoyable with someone sitting next to you, someone who loves the adventure and excitement and Harrison Fordiness just as much as I do. That person isn't here. When I bring up my romantic loneliness, my dad will say to me, just be patient. It's all right around the corner for you. And he says it so calmly and confidently every time that I really believe him. But it's like, are we there yet? Have we rounded the corner yet? There's a quote by the late and great Roger Ebert once said, never marry someone who doesn't love the movies you love. Sooner or later, that person will not love you. And that is a quote I hold on to more than any other quote about love, advice about relationships, or even Shakespearean sonnet. The movies you love, they make up who you are. I would not be the same person I am today without Harrison Ford's movies. And no matter who your favorite person is, there are movies out there that made all of us who we are today. These movies exist like an energy shield created by all living things. And I really love Star Wars and Indiana Jones, Witness, The Fugitive, and it happened one night. Casablanca, Tremors, The Odd Couple, Jurassic Park, The Jerk, Fiddler on the Roof, and His Girl Friday. So the person that I love, who loves me, the person that I find when we've all found each other, if there's a person on the other side of that, I mean, that person has to love all those movies, which is a lot. And they have to love me, wholly and fully. It just doesn't seem likely. Like that, there's a minuscule chance. And it's like a 1 in a million shot, kid. So what I sort of decided is that after I see these 3 movies, that I need to give up, for my own sake. And I need to give up on love and dating and romance and going on bad dates and the whole thing. You gotta protect yourself. And I think it'll be good. Because I really think, what? Oh, it's time for the marathon to start. Great. Oh yeah, no, it's just, I'm excited is all. I can't wait to see these movies up on the big screen. Yeah, kind of the way that they were meant to be seen. Thanks for letting me talk your ear off. Sorry if I was weird. Oh, I mean, I like weird too. I just want to say thanks. Oh yeah, sure. Maybe I will see you in there. Yeah, I don't know. You saved me a seat. Okay, I'll save you a seat. Yeah, sure. Okay, bye. But never tell me the odds. Thank you so much. This is an emotional week, guys. It's Star Wars week.